Right, so we have our parchment tools, we've got embossing tools and perforating tools. This one is the 0.5mm embossing tool, and you know that because we have it written on. So it's as easy and as simple as that. Take off the top, hold it in your hand so it's comfortable. Now I'm just going to work my way through the tools so that you can see the difference in sizes once you've used them. And what I would suggest is that when you're using them, rather than putting them on and pressing down, you put them on and you do a little sketchy movement. So we get a nice white line. This is the back, will be the back of your card. And when you turn it over, you've got a nice raised white line. Right, let's turn it back for the moment. And we've finished with that one, only just for the moment, because I want to show you the difference in size of all of them. So we have the 1mm, it's all written on so we know which tool we're using. Every one of them is ergonomically designed so that when they're in your hand, they feel comfortable. Lovely soft feel to them. Each one comes with a top, so you're never going to damage the tips. And again, the 1.5mm. You can't go wrong with the sizes because they're all there. And if you can see the difference we're getting here, the last one in the ball tools is the 2mm. So here we go again, all that highlighted for you. Bring that one up, went off there slightly. So we turn that one over, and here we are getting a little bit thicker as we work our way along. Now, this tool, people always struggle when they're doing large areas. It's difficult to do a large area without getting lines, so we use the contrast tool, CT. And this is a flick, and when I turn this over you will see just how lovely for large areas that is. So you get a heavy weight where you start, and we go off to a nice bit of grey shading. You can also use this on its side to do lines, on its edge to do a thicker line. Quite a nice versatile tool. Now let's have a look at our perforating tools. We'll start with the 1. So now we've got a 1 dot as opposed to the mm for the millimeters. And when we're using the perforating, we use them on the top. I'm just going to turn my mat over now because I have one side for perforating and one side for embossing. So the 1 needle, let's come back, let's get you nice and straight. It does what it says. It creates 1 hole at a time. But work from the top because on the back it's quite rough and it's much nicer to have a nice smooth surface at the top. 2 needle, 2 and 2 dots. This one for going around the edges, and when you're using this you want to be upright with all your tools, straight down. Find the last hole and make 1 additional hole. So again, find the last hole, make 1 additional hole. That way, when you go around the edge, you are going to have a nice, even border. Particularly if you're cutting with your parchment scissors, because you know that each one of these little pieces of parchment between the holes will be exactly the same size and right size for your parchment scissors or snips. Right, now we have a 3 needle tool. So we've got a number 3 and 3 dots, and that's the way they are all lined up so that they are in a triangle. And we go. You can join these together by putting the holes 2 holes or single hole to make a nice little pattern. You can use these individually. You can also go in right the way down to the blue of the tool and give a little twist and make your own flower designs within a card. And we've got our 4 dots. This can be used separate, or it can be used together to make a bar, and put in the needles in the last 2 holes to create just 2 more as we work along. That way you can have a bar, you can have a square, and we just make up our own design if that's what you want, or you follow the design of a pattern. So we have our number 5 and our 5 dots. Straight down. Try and always go straight into the parchment as opposed to an angle. When you come to cut, if you do it at an angle, as you can see, it elongates it, you don't get a nice area to cut. So always straight down as far as you can. And don't worry, this mat is thick enough to take these needles, so you're not going to damage your table. Like the one, lovely to create your own little flowers. Right, there's one last tool in this set we've not used yet, and that is the mapping pen. And I'm going to use that with my white ink. You need to stir so you can shake, well, rather than shake, just tip. And this is going to mix up the white sediment. It's quite a chalky white sediment, so we need to mix that up. If you can see, we've got a bit of a bubble here. If you shake it, we get lots of bubbles, so that's why I suggest we don't. And it's not going to pop easily, look, there we go. So we pick up some of the ink, and I always find it best to draw the pen towards me as opposed to going sideways on the nib. If you have a look, it doesn't always work sideways, so if you can draw the nib down towards yourself, I find that way you get the best white line possible. So with all the tools that we have here that I've just shown you, these are really the essential tools you need.